11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And good afternoon. We have rescheduled our weekly 2A wrap-up, and we're going live on Saturday afternoon. So I'm going to start it off with Senator Braun from Indiana, and for 2 minutes, this is his address to the Senate.
Come to the floor today to oppose the confirmation of David Chipman, President Biden's nominee for Director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Many Hoosiers are concerned about the nomination of Mr. Chipman, rightfully so. His statements have made one thing clear. If confirmed, he will fail to uphold the constitutional right to bear arms. He has stated under oath that he supports mandatory federal registration of common semi-automatic firearms and ultimately supports a ban on AR-15 rifles. Semi-automatic sporting rifles can be found in the homes of millions of law-abiding Americans, Hoosiers included, who use them for hunting, recreational shooting, and defending their families. The ATF has a responsibility to clearly articulate its decisions to the public. In his confirmation hearing, Mr. Chipman revealed that he is not able to articulate what an assault rifle even is. His beliefs represent, in my opinion, a direct attack on our Second Amendment rights. It's no surprise that organizations that have never opposed an ATF nominee before are loudly opposing the nomination of David Chipman. The ATF Accountability Act. Mr. Chipman's nomination comes as the ATF is already in need of more accountability for politicized decisions. American gun owners, manufacturers, and small business owners deserve clarity and the right to appeal politicized decisions made by the ATF. Currently, the ATF engages in secretive, behind-the-scenes classification, a review process to decide if a firearm will be regulated by the National Firearms Act. No law-abiding American should have to wonder if they are going to suddenly be made a criminal by a bureaucratic decision. It doesn't make sense. That is why I joined Representative Dan Crenshaw in the House to introduce the ATF Accountability Act. Law-abiding gun manufacturers and small businesses should be able to appeal the legal status or classifications within a regular time frame. And I yield the floor at this time.
All right, so that's the guy from Indiana. It looks like him and some other guy brought a some kind of. So that's the guy from some kind of build for the ATF accountability. All right, so we are doing the 2A wrap up. So each week we take a look at the week and we write it down in the description of the video that we're watching right now. So that's all we're doing is going through the description of the video that we're watching right now. I do have the comments over here, so if you're watching this live and you want to participate in what we're doing, then type stuff on the keyboard and it pops up on the screen and then we see it, and then that's the interactive nature of the internet instead of just watching TV or something. All right, so I think this is a pretty big week. We had a lot of stuff going on. There's the distractions of the comment periods, which unfortunately has seemed to won against us. They've won us. They've beaten us with the comment periods because we can't handle 2 comment periods at once and no one's commenting anymore. So we're monitoring that occasionally in the mornings to see what's happening with it. But we're certainly not dominating it. And unfortunately, at the same time, they want to nominate that ATF nominee, that dude to head the ATF. So they going to win? We don't know. We'll see if people keep commenting and if, what the results of this are. But in the meantime, there's a lot of stuff going on, and let's take a look at it. So we've got the episode 52 of Locked and Loaded Latinos, which is the best show on 2A each week. They did it again with have Pincus on there and asked some real questions, and it was an awesome show. Then looks like they also posted their intro. What? Oh, look, when they put it on with titles, it starts to put titles all over it. So yeah, I horked it, and I'm going to use that as a commercial in here by going over to brand and then going down to where these videos are, right? There's this whole section here, video clips, right? So what does it say right there? Short video clips, blah, 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 200 megabytes, 10 minutes. Oh, shit. Now I can put 10-minute commercials in here. I didn't know it was 10 minutes. So yeah, I crammed their intro in here, and then I wrote the times of their show on. And now it's a commercial. So that's a thing. And you could do that for your own channel. You could put up intro. You could put up a commercial for your show. And then it looks like people using StreamYard could download it and put it into their brand section under video clips. And then they'd have it in there as a commercial like this one. So I just played around with that one, but you get the idea. All right, so then we get to Great Start Shooting School. Does a suicide prevention Saturdays. So they probably did that today, but there was this one from dinner the other day, or after a dinner the other day. She went live. I think she went live. At least she posted a video, and that's what this one is. Pretty neat. Lots of interesting stuff happening in 2A, right, all over the place. And this is a 10-minute video. If you'd watch it, there's a section in here where she talks a bit about the concept of doing an 811. There's the 911 for emergencies out there. Someone, I guess, had put out the concept of an 811 for mental health emergencies as a prevention hotline type of thing. And I can't think of a better idea. That sounds like a really neat concept. And hopefully something happens with that after all. Nobody wants to see people in pain, suffer, and hurt themselves accidentally or unintentionally or intentionally or whatever. And with the spectrum of stuff that's happening out there and the number of things that happen, it'd be great to see something put a dent into that that thing that's happening, that part of society. So next we get to Gun Freedom Radio. They're on episode. Oh, and by the way, Great Start Shooting School, 89 subscribers. Come on, man. Come on. So go over and consider subscribing, consider supporting channels that do real work. Then we get Gun Freedom Radio, episode 324, 426 subs. That is the truest indicator that subscribers have no bearing on the content, of the quality of the content that's created. So this is an interview with Jim Irvine. There are 4 interviews this week on Gun Freedom Radio with the different people from FASTER. So FASTER is an acronym, and it is an organization that was started after the exploitation of one of the atrocities that happened, one of the violent atrocities that that the national media exploited. And instead of reacting with frustration or other ways, Jim Irvine, who is a commercial airline pilot, amongst other things, and helped create some of the state level organizations in Ohio, got together and created an organization that trains people in a similar way to the Stop the Bleed. So in other words, it's not a gun thing so much as a gun awareness and safety kind of thing, but it's more of a how to be an effective emergency responder and sort of a jack of all trades emergency responder, from what I understand. So it is a program that educates people who are interested in being useful in an emergency instead of just being observers during an emergency. And they've trained a lot of people to be effective and efficient and useful over the years in many states. So it's an interesting project, but it's also interesting to hear folks like Gun Freedom Radio periodically touch base with them to see the evolution of the development of the project. All right, and then I guess I put a link to FASTER right here. FASTER is the program. The FASTER program is your complete, ready-to-go solution created by concerned parents, law enforcement, and nationally recognized safety and medical experts. FASTER is a groundbreaking nonprofit program that gives educators practical violence response training, and that's pretty much what it says right there. Go to the About. So FASTER stands for Facility and Administrator, Safety, Training, and Emergency Response. So it's basically reacting to, a tree smashing through a window or a flood or, some sort of other problem that might be going on. Program offers a carefully structured curriculum offering over 26 hours of hands-on training over a 3-day class that exceeds the requirements of the Ohio police officers' requirements. The purpose is not to replace police or EMT, but allow teachers, administrators, and other personnel on site to stop school violence rapidly and render medical aid immediately. When violence strikes and students' lives are on the line, every second matters. Faster response is better response. FASTER saves lives. So again, just having the wits about you to close a door, to turn off lights, for example. It's that kind of awareness and understanding. All right, so next up is Riding Shotgun with Charlie posts this video about, well, you'll see.
2021. Realize Firearm Awareness Coalition.
One of the things that we do in our fashion show is that we show you what you can't see.
Come to the NRA annual meetings in Houston from September 3rd to the 5th. The event to be at is the Concealed Carry Fashion Show, hosted by Realize Firearm Awareness Coalition. You'll see persons, garments, vests, jackets, corsets, and other holsters. But you can see the firearms the models are carrying. Get your tickets now. Limited seating.
So, NRAAM, so people are going to be there anyway, and they've been doing concealed carry fashion shows at different levels for years now. So if you can go to the kind of thing, if it's your kind of cup of tea, or if you want to support it, again, it's helping to get help shift the Overton window, right? Make more people aware of the number of and type of people that are firearms owners. And is there anything other than a fashion show that can reach new ground in that way? Well, maybe there is. So next we're going to go switch directions to the OG Pumpkin podcast, episode 1.
The most natural sounding text-to-speech software on the market. Hey.
So this dude's cool. Ranger Cortez found him originally on the Mike Drop podcast, I guess, and I think that's the only one. No, I've listened to an interview of him on another couple of podcasts since then, but then just watching his stuff on Instagram and on other things, and listening now to the first episode. It's really cool. Wrapped a lot of things up, or tied a bunch of things up, or whatever. Interesting dude and crew, and I don't know, it's like 2 hours, I think. It's worth listening to. And I think it's an hour and a half. I think it's going to be an interesting channel or project to follow. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, then check it out. We got an update on Ken Blanchard's situation from Ken. He posted his own video over here, which is cool, letting everybody know what's happening with him. And if you don't know, without getting too much into his personal stuff, him and his wife have had some situations going on, and there is a GoFundMe set up for people that are interested in helping out. And remember that everybody putting in a little bit helps take a burden off of somebody like Ken Blanchard and his wife at a time when it's nice. That's what community is all about, right? That what makes us a community instead of an industry, I suspect. So if you want, there's a link to the GoFundMe there, and if you'd like to help share that around, I don't think that would be a bad idea. Then you get Dragon Man doing a private museum tour. What? So I thought this was pretty cool. He's got, this was yesterday or the day before, he had 56 kids from a Jewish school come through on a private tour. And if you haven't been to Dragon Man's place before, you don't even know. He's got a Nazi room there that's nuts. And I can't even imagine on a private tour where he can take kids in and show them some stuff from their history. That, holy moly. And then not have to rush them through, or not have to, or basically have to take their time, right? Give them as much time as they want. So let them ask questions about the stuff that they're seeing there from Dragon Man, and not some idiot museum person who's an idiot and trying to be politically correct or whatever, and an idiot who doesn't know anything about the stuff they own. Like, this is his stuff, and he knows what it is, and he's acquired it from people who, it was theirs. And when we're talking about that Nazi room, holy crap. So I can't even imagine how awesome of a resource that is for those kids specifically, and for kids like them. And I never even thought about that Dragon Man's doing stuff like that. So Dragon Man's on like 3 different levels of awesome. Let's see. TAFB letter. So I figured I'd read it right now. So this is off. Looks like I'm having bad internet. So this little thing here says my connection's unstable. So that's why we're having bad internet. Let's see. My letter to the BATFE. Hello, BATFE, regarding ATF 2021R-08. I am firmly against this, and I below will give my reasoning. I'm in a wheelchair and a veteran from Desert Storm, but was injured after my years of service in the Army as an infantryman. The stabilizing brace was approved for veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan. I assumed it was for anyone with a disability. I guess like wheelchair ramps and automatic doors and crosswalks with curb cuts, everyone started using stabilizing braces. That's an interesting point. The point system and requirements to add up to 1 or 2 or 3, but not hitting 4 or more seems very difficult. Do we send our pistols to the ATF? Do we take a photo of our AR with a yardstick and wait for the evaluation? How long will this take for the ATF to use a point system, and do we get our results back? I didn't see a point system for disabilities. Are there minus points for me being a quadriplegic? What about negative points for someone having early or later MS? Believe it or not, blind people are also responsible gun owners with different levels of blindness. Did the ATF think about them and the needs of the disabled? Paraplegics have more upper body strength like people who had polio, like paraplegics had more upper body strength like people who had polio when compared to quadriplegics. With all the disabilities, I did not see any provisions for us in 2021 R-08. Before the pistol brace, I was shooting an AR with a piece of foam rubber around the buffer tube, not to shoulder it, but to brace it against my cheek or jawbone. Back in 2005, I put a crutch floor rubber end cap on my AR, mostly so I could stand it in the corner without it sliding to the floor. I believe other people were shouldering it. Has the ATF given disabled people thought or consideration? All this micromanaging of gun rights seems like an infringement. The Second Amendment has 3 commas. Amendment 2, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I will attach the Bill of Rights from the Library of Congress. I assume you have not seen it. A Bill of Rights is provided in the 10 original amendments to the Constitution of the United States in force since December 15th, 1791. YouTube will not let me attach the Bill of Rights because of the shape or ratio of the slides not being between 2 to 5 or 5 to 2 or whatever. So right on. So that's letter Wield posted. And then he posted on his channel as inspiration or give people some insight, some direction. Let's see. Next up is Behind the Curtain. Oh, this was interesting. So Jared posted this video, and let's take a look at how many subs people have over here. So Riding Shotgun with Charlie, 1,000 subs, which is cool. We were there for the 1,000 ding, but still. OG Pumpkin, 13,000 subs. That's awesome. Then we get Ken, 1,038. So 1,300 subs. Not very many. Then we get Dragon Man, 164,000. That's awesome. I wonder how I could track Dragon Man subs. I'd have to go look at something from back in the day where we were watching Dragon Man and see how many subs he had. But that's relatively new, I suspect, I think, if I remember right. Wield and Well Arms, 1,000. That's respectable. Glad to see he's growing. Budget, not budget. This is not budget. This is regular Guns and Gadgets. So 460,000. So he's on his way to 500,000 subs. That's awesome. Considering I haven't even seen a review over there except for the coffee commercials and stuff in his videos. He's just 2A, man. Nothing but 2A as far as I've seen. So he posted this video about Behind the Curtain gun control media. All right, we're taking a commercial so I can get a drink.
History proves to us that when a nation's citizens lose the right to keep and bear arms in their defense, the balance of power always tilts in favor of tyrants. Understand the Second Amendment for what it is, the scale of peace.
The DC project was an idea I had when I visited DC as a tourist, and a friend of mine set up a meeting with my congressman. I asked him, is there something that I can do as a professional shooter to reach out to the legislators? I hope it goes for all the 50 women, that at least they know their face, they know their name, and they know their story. Now we are expanding our efforts to the state and local level to be a counter voice to anti-gun groups like Bloomberg's Every Town for Gun Safety, as well as a counter visual to the red shirts of Moms Demand Action.
We don't look like what people like to villainize as the face of Second Amendment rights, but we truly are.
I am the Second Amendment.
Right on. So DC project, lady from each state, well, 50 ladies, one from each state goes to national level representatives and meet with them once a year. Change of the face of gun ownership. Like it said at the end there, they're now expanding to state and local representatives as well. Not just being there to offer information and positions, but also as offering themselves as resource, so that going forward, when representatives have questions or are urged to do something, they now have these ladies from the DC project to call and to ask and to use as a resource. So amazing work that they're doing. And they are attempting to get their delegates to Florida in October to have some up training and to give them some additional skill sets on activism, on content creation, on doing their things. So an awesome opportunity for us to be their Bloomberg, to support delegates in your area from your state, encourage gun shops to adopt one of the DC delegates or more, and make it so that money isn't an issue for them. I mean, these are ladies that are volunteering their time. They're just doing this on their own dime. And whatever we can do to make it easier for them, what an opportunity for us to be able to rally behind actual effective activism. All right, so that's a commercial, so I could take a drink there and start talking about Jared again. So he did this video where he's talking about gun control media. What was he talking about? He said, trying to remember, he was using some story to show that, I guess it was that the Everytown or some organization that Bloomberg, the 20th richest dude on the planet, pays for, one of those organizations that's, run by the lady that used to be the marketing person for Monsanto, the giant food international. So they put out some sort of memorandum, some sort of dictate, some sort of script. And this was, I guess, before the 4th of July, I think. That's why Jared was probably pissed about it. And it said something, if I can remember right, something like, hey, it's the 4th of July, so let's remember that America sucks and that guns are bad, right? So here's all the things that you should report on, how bad guns are and how irresponsible gun owners are and how bad, and don't say Independence Day, say the 4th of July. Anyway, I forget what all the points they had or what all the points were. But then what was interesting is Jared not just reported on it, but then, again, remember I mentioned he has 460,000 subs? He's using the YouTube platform in an interesting way with this particular video. Maybe he's done it before. I don't watch every single thing he does. But in this case, he's explained what they're doing with this script, with this dictate that they sent out to the media. Here's your alert. Here's what you're supposed to report on. What Jared asked in his video was how many people have seen these bullet points in their local news. And that's super neat. So Jared, in other words, has a giant channel. He says on that giant channel, hey, look what the news is doing. They're just listening to whatever Bloomberg decided to tell them to, let's say, this weekend. And let's see how effective that was using the YouTube system. So it's interesting. I bet you if you go back in here to his video. No, this is the commercial for Mud or whatever. Nothing. So whatever. So he's got the video, and now 729,000 or 700 comments. The idea is that you could see going through here. And now I guess I haven't gone through here. I just thought the concept was neat. But then to see how many people respond to them, then that would give us a lot of information, because there's really nothing else out there except maybe a poll that would be put out by one of the big .orgs or something, and then only the people paying attention to that .org would be the ones to respond to the poll, right? So it's going to be fairly biased. Can't say, unfortunately, too many of these are actually doing that, though. That sucks. But I don't know how often Jared does this. If this is the first time he did it, then nobody's going to really understand or pay attention. But, like, this guy gets what's going on. So if Jared were to say, hold on, guys, the comments are great, but next time, here's the deal. We're trying to get some feedback here. We're trying to use this giant YouTube platform for our purposes as a massive tool for us, right? So I guess it didn't work in this one, but I still think that's an awesome concept. I don't have a big enough reach anymore, but I'd certainly be using my videos in that way if I could. So I'm not saying that people that have massive reach and aren't using it are wasting time, but whatever. So next up we get Gun Expert. So this is the Guns for Everyone podcast. I didn't listen to it this week, but I included it because I wanted to listen to it, and this way I can remember to listen to it. Then you get Maj doing a video on when the lightning hit the mural. Now, when I listened to this, I hadn't seen what happened. I just was listening to this. I think I listened to it on. Did I listen to it on Instagram? Anyway, wherever I listened to it, I had not seen what he was even talking about. But he had some interesting points, and that's why I put it in here. Maj is kicking butt over there doing his thing, and usually he's got enough momentum and whatever going on that I don't bother put too much Black Lives Matter stuff over here. But this I thought was pretty on point. Then I seen the picture of what happened, and I was like, oh, dang, this is even more on point. So if you watch it, let us know what you think. Switching lanes, I guess, we got to the overnight. So for the last 13, well, that means 26 weeks, Voss has been doing the overnight show. So this show is basically the early warm-up show for this overnight show that happens at now midnight, I guess. So tonight, after all the other stuff that sucks, the good stuff happens for the real people, the overnight people that make the world happen. So a lot of people just go to sleep at night and they wake up in the morning and everything's reset, right? And everything's fresh and clean, right? Everything's full again where it was empty last night. Everything is cleaned up and the trashes are empty and all that's magical. It's just Santa Claus does all that when he wiggles his nose at night. Except what really happens is all the ethical people who are decent and get the world working, they come out at night and fix everything for all the idiots that break everything all day. So that's what really happens. And Voss puts out to show for those people, the good people. And so it's in the middle of the night. You got to deal with it. But those of us that are good, we listen to it. No, we're talking about the night crew, the overnighters, the real people. Let's see. Then we get Yankee. So Yankee had his show on Thursday, and he sent me a link, and I didn't show up because I was out doing something, because he doesn't send it to us consistently, and I don't remember it's Thursday even. So anyway, I was doing something in real life, and I missed his one show. But I did notice that he had this thing about gas pedals, and all these people that are just getting into guns and don't know what's going on. Yankee is like 100 years old, and he's just figuring out what a gas pedal is. Come on, man. Come on. Gas pedals are like from the 70s. Let's see. Am I a multi-millionaire tech genius that made millions from Amazon? Well, here's the deal. We now know that Trump is a multi-millionaire tech genius that made millions on Amazon because he mentions it in this video. He lets it slip in this video.
So there's a rumor going around that I'm some multi-millionaire tech genius who started Amazon with Bezos. And I just want to tell you all that that rumor is completely true.
There you go. He accidentally let it slip. So now you've heard it here first. Switching lanes again. We're making one of those J turns. And I guess in a Trans Am, right? But whatever. You have to have, it's in Arizona, so it really doesn't matter what car you're doing it in. You're going to have plenty of room, big open highway. We're squealing to a halt, throwing it the safety brake on, pulling the steering wheel to the left, which is going to throw the back end in front. Now we're shifting it back into gear and we're slamming on the gas so that we basically made a J turn, which means you were going one way. You braked and swung the wheel so that you immediately slip your back end around 180, and now you haul in the gas, and you basically start going quickly from whence you came, right? So we just did a J turn, and now we're sending water to Arizona critters. So Arizona is land of desert and rocks and stuff, right? We live here. We defend the line between California and New Mexico. So there is a New Mexico, and we own it, right? There's California. We have to own it because of laws. So here's the deal. Arizona's right in the middle, and we can't do nothing about it. New Mexico sucks, and California blows, and we got to deal with it in between here, right? Constantly. So what happens is all that blowing and sucking takes our water away. It makes it really dry here, and then you hear a lot of jokes about Arizona being a desert or whatever. But we have elks, and we have we have elks, that's it. Now we have elks, and we have deers, and we have little mammals, and then we have birds, and there's definitely some fish. And all those critters like water. So what we do is have 3,000 water catchments throughout the state that are supported by the Arizona Department or Game and Fish. However, they're not funded by the Game and Fish. They're funded privately. And while they were allowed by the Game and Fish and probably set up in cooperation and under the supervision of the Game and Fish, they're sort of a nonprofit entity. So while the Arizona Game and Fish does help with it, they spend $1 million. It takes $1 million a year to keep water in those things. And even if you don't live here, if you want to give water to an Arizona critter, you can do it. This is the link, and there's actually a couple of things you can also give money to provide stuff in Arizona, critters in Arizona. Other states probably need it too, so I'm not saying don't care about other states, but if you were interested in giving an elk or other awesome critter in Arizona some water, you can follow those links and do so. All right. They usually do it at the same time, and that's why Arizona pays the price for it. So while one of them is sucking and the other one is blowing, what do we got to deal with? All that hot air. Like, we can't. What are we going to do? We're stuck here in between them, and that's the way it is. All right, so next up, we're getting into some other kind of things. So the first one is Lieutenant Colonel Brown of Soldier of Fortune. It's pretty cool. Learned a lot about them, that stuff, doing other things during the week. This video is an interview with the guy from back in the day, and it's pretty decent. I'd recommend listening to it if you're interested in like old cool stuff that has to do with guns. Then you get this interview, which I was listening to doing some research for the 2A History Project, and it's an interview from some guy, and he's a guy who hangs out training all the time. Maybe he is a trainer, and then he hangs out with other trainers, but he has a pretty interesting looking YouTube channel. I've never really watched his videos before. 4,000 subs though. And this is an interview, of part one of a 3-part interview he does with John Farnham. And yeah, super interesting. If you're into self-defense and all you've ever listened to is idiots, then maybe you should listen to John Farnham. And then there's 3 parts of that interview. Let's see. Then I put out a video earlier this week inviting people who want to make our audio version of our tagline. And this one dude did.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com.
So what you do is you take that URL and you put it into a magic little box on the computer over here, and that horks it. And then thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com.
So that happened. So Mickey's the only one that took us up on that. It does. And then we finally get to this 1 pound EDC. I don't know what I was doing. I was minding my business and somebody commented on this video. The kids these days think it's cool to comment on old videos. So this is from back in 2010 when I was still an idiot and thought that, you know, why not just worry about frivolity all the time? So I worried about EDC. And this is, even in 2010, I was getting sick of it. So here's me offering a 1 pound EDC video.
We got 1 pound of EDC gear here. I'll try to do it in 1 minute. Start off with some cash. Got to keep it light so we don't carry any change. We've got a photon light. Of course, got to have light. Lots of options there. For a multi-tool, going with the Leatherman, I think this is the E4. It's got the wire cutters. That way we got pliers at the end, scissors inside, wire cutters if we need them. Lots of little tools on the outside just to back it up, and have a couple of cleaner tools perhaps. This is an executive Swiss Army knife, toothpick and tweezers, of course. For blades, a couple little switch blades, 1 for each pocket. And then, of course, for firearms, we got 2 NAA 22 short revolvers, 10 shots altogether, 5 shots each. So we're looking at about 8 ounces of firearms, a couple more ounces for some blades, some tools, a light, and and then some cash, and we're coming in at just about 1 pound in just about 1 minute.
That's the way we did it because we didn't waste a lot of time or effort back in the day. We made it real. So if you're wasting time watching videos that take more than a minute and weigh more than a pound, that's your problem, right? So what else were we going to do? There was something pretty awesome over on Instagram, and I was, I'm not trying to promote YouTube. YouTube's a pretty lame platform. There was something that happened on Instagram I thought was pretty cool, but I don't remember what it is right now. And I'm not gonna probably while I'm talking. That's the problem. Oh, Bismarcky passed. I'm not. Oh, ooh, it's interesting. I don't like that. What flag is that? Red, white, and blue flag. Let's see what kind of flag that is. That's got to be somebody's flag. Red on the left. Or maybe with red on the left, it is nobody's flag. So it looks a hell of a lot like a French flag. That would be if the blue was on the left. Okay, here we go. A numerical and function flag. A Soviet Navy flag. What? So anyway, otherwise that's kind of cool. Never seen that before. Never seen it before. So it's an eagle on top of a Boy Scout eagle thing on top of, well, it turns out it's a Soviet Navy flag, but it's the opposite of a French flag. And then it's got the fleur-de-lis embroidered on the blue, but that's actually, I think, well, it might be embroidered on top, but I think it's actually just part of the pattern of that blue sew out. So that's pretty neat, actually. And yes, it is a paramilitary organization. Yeah, I'm not going to remember what the other thing was that I thought was pretty neat that I was going to add to this whole thing. And then there was something that happened since I posted this whole thing. There's all the videos we watched tonight. So let's recap. 1 pound EDC. If you're wasting your time for more than a minute and more than a pound watching YouTube video reviews, then they're wasting your time and money. Smeggy's the only one that participated with the tagline. He's going to be immortal because he'll be on all these videos now. Crump, we now know, is a millionaire. There's a lot of ways to use YouTube, and people ain't doing it. Dragon Man has a lot of different ways to use his private collection, which he shares with the world, and he's doing that in more than just creative new ways. That's amazing new ways. How about that? You got Ken Blanchard, amazing dude who could use some help. You got Ranger Cortez, the OG Pumpkin. I would highly recommend listening to this one. I think this one is a cool project. You got the NRA fashion show. Well, no, the CCW fashion show that will happen this iteration of it at NRA annual meeting, which I guess was announced. It's going to be in Houston. So, of course, all the Texans are going to go. And then I imagine other people will go. But it's the same weekend as the Solutionary Summit in Florida. So there you go. Then you get the suicide prevention kind of supplement show that had that concept of an 811 that people could dial for if you're at, having some kind of time of stress or whatever, to get in contact with people, dialing 811 instead of 911 and not having to remember some weird 800 number for a local thing. I think that's a great concept. Imagine what would it be like with 2/3 of gun crimes not existing so that they can't put suicides on gun owners as if gun owners are responsible for the decisions of individuals, or, of course, they make it look like all of that is just violent crime. So when there's that much less violent crime, we already know that the ATF is responsible for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Alcohol kills 500,000 people a year, according to the CDC. Tobacco is 500,000 people each year. Alcohol is 100,000 people each year. Guns are barely 40,000, and with 2/3 of those being suicide, imagine with more attention devoted to suicide, not only would that be more actual applicable to the people that are dying, right? The actual people that die are dying from suicide, nothing else. So all this BS posturing and pandering to try to marginalize gun owners, how much more effective could that be when, focused on suicide? And after that happens, once mental health isn't stigmatized and once reaching out for help mentally isn't frowned upon or something or whatever, deemed, and assumed frowned upon or whatever, so that we reduce that number, then how do they ever suggest guns are an issue? We can literally make gun crime look like a big curve going down because they insist on including suicide and gun crime numbers. We could remove suicide numbers and effectively take away their entire argument. How awesome would that be? And that wouldn't even take but a few people, some number of people actually efforting at it, more than the 15 that are probably efforting at it right now. Then you got Locked and Loaded offering their 1 minute and 15-second intro. Well, first off, that's way too long for an intro. We all know that, right? They are the best live two-way conversation each week, hands down. That's non-debatable. However, yeah, they're new. They don't know. Their intro's too long. So yeah, it should be under a minute. But here's what you should do. Follow their lead and post your dang intro. Because how can people do this on their live chats? And promote your work if you don't do nothing to help them do it. So they're over there leading the way again, right? Posting their intro. Unfortunately, they did it wrong, but they did it pretty good. They did it pretty darn good. So then we were watching this show. We started the show with this guy from Indiana. All you Hoosiers.
Come to the floor today to oppose the confirmation of David Chipman.
I also oppose the confirmation of David Chipman. This dude right here might drop the link to, not the link, no links, the 800 number to the Congress people, the representatives who you employ, and it might be worth making a phone call to them every other day, whatever. Let's see, this morning we did a special live reading watching of an awesome video that was an hour long, and it only took me an hour and a half to watch it.
First, you're going to go, why aren't any of these things just hanging off of the trigger guards, right? Maybe that's what you're questioning yourself right now. How come none of these pegs go through trigger guards?
Guide for agencies and individuals interested in purchasing such handguns. The terms double action and single action.
What gun shop is this? Like, I'm just going to this gun shop from now on. Like, you just go there, the guns are loaded, you pick them up, you start shooting them at the wall.
That was pretty fun. So we did that as an extra live show this morning. If you missed it, you weren't there live. This is the video. Let's get rid of that. Clover's playing baseball cards now. This is home safety tape. This was pretty interesting. On the Johnny Rowland archive channel.
The average adult has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop in their body at any given moment.
What? So isn't that an a-hole commercial? Somebody was like, oh, that's funny, and it'll catch people's, and now it just was totally inappropriate, right? It's just ruined everything. It ruined my whole show because of their poop. Anyway, the Johnny Rowland Shooting Show archives has that VHS or a box of VHS tapes, right? So they posted this awesomeness, which is old VHS, I'm guessing, video from, I don't know what date it was from. It says somewhere in here eventually. But anyway, it's old and it is awesome. It is like a small school district. I'm guessing small because I've been to Arkansas, and Arkansas ain't that big. And then, come on. They show basically here. These are all the schools in Arkansas. No, that's all the schools in that county. So anyway, this is a video that was made back in the 90s, let's say, maybe the early 90s, about the schools that existed for a point of time there during segregation when they had to have two different schools. And awesome. Like, it's not just shows pictures, because the schools don't exist. They all got torn down or removed or whatever. So this is some photographs and then interviews and stuff with the superintendents and principals and stuff, talking all about the history. And it's just super neat for me personally, because I just got done doing the research on the gun control is racist. And so that helped. It just filled in a couple of gaps for me personally, but I just thought it was cool that the dude or the chick, we don't know, who's doing the Johnny Rowland shooting archives is posting some other stuff. It's not really gun related, I guess, but it is super interesting. And it's neat to see that a VHS tape that would have ordinarily just been, somebody put a lot of time and effort to it back in the 90s, would have just maybe potentially not, I don't know. I mean, it's not like that was the only copy, but at least a version of it did get re-amplified, I guess, and then put online to hopefully be semi-permanent, which is pretty awesome. I just think it's cool. This was another thing from the Soldier of Fortune convention. Was it this? No, because it was something that wasn't internet, or it wasn't YouTube. So this is a show I fell asleep on yesterday. I don't know if anybody watched it. Was it good? This is tough to watch. All right. Well, I guess we're just seeing all the videos that I watched this week. So we're going to close out of there. I guess there was two things that I was thinking about adding, but then I fell asleep and forgot what they were going to be. All right, so, well, we would have Free Patch Saturday. It is Free Patch Saturday. I mean, basically, if anybody orders stuff from the Gear website store, thanks for bringing that up. I will open up the link here at some point. We're having a battle against taxes and bills, and yesterday we did a project. Let's see, what did I post a video about it? I think I posted a video about it. Yeah. Wait. No. I guess this video is just showing you what all the loot is. So I guess I don't have an announcement video necessarily. So we're in this battle against taxes and bills. I'll just mute this. And took a bunch of loot. So for Free Patch Friday, we're going to have all this loot that's going out. So I took all the loot and I put it on a table and talked about it and said stuff about it and whatever. And then eventually put stuff on the loot, these hats. So basically when you purchase something over at the Gear website store, this place, and then it's over $25, put a comment in there and pick one of these hats, except pick a bunch of the hats. This is the hat that Patriot's getting. Is he still out there? So as I was digging through these hats, I found this one that's got a skull on it, basically, that is black on black. So I'm sending that to Patriot. So that hat's not on the table, but it's literally not on the table, see? So anyway, you pick a hat. What I'm going to do is shuffle the loot underneath of it. And at first, I was just going to say, here's what's going on. However many people buy something, that's how many hats get pushed out. But instead, since I fell asleep and ruined the whole thing anyway, I figured why not make it where the first, or until these the next 9 orders will each get a hat. And then what we'll do, if they happen relatively soon, it could be happening right now. You could be clicking on that link and buying something for $25 and making this phone ding, and then it would all just happen right now. But basically, when a bunch of people buy stuff for $25, we got 9 people, what we'll do is try to sort out the hat situation, because hopefully everybody won't want the same hat. At this point, I think the only one claimed is this red horny hat from DJ. And, we'll sort out who gets what hat. At least, hopefully that'll sort out. And I do have some doubles. Not every one of these, but I have some doubles. So once we get the hats sorted out, we'll uncover what loot is underneath the what hat, right? Then it'll be a pass the loot type of situation, or a loot swap, depending on how you want to think about it. So I figure that might be fun if people want to help us battle taxes and bills, which I'm not even kidding. Like, we got a giant bill. I got to deal with this. Otherwise, I'll just lose the house and have to live in the van if I can keep it. But whenever that happens, we'll do the rest of that. I am definitely forgetting two things, but I guess you're just going to get screwed out of them because I can't think of them. Yes, that you definitely hit something on the thing there. I didn't want to put too many disclaimers in there or make people feel too butthurt because if they're not a Patreon. But yeah, like Woods bought something for $19.11. Let's say he bought something for $19.84 because a lot of stuff in there is $19.84, right? Just happens. If you're a Patreon, yeah, of course, it's the same thing. So I just didn't feel like saying that in front of everybody so that they don't feel bad for not being a Patreon. But even if this dude bought something that was like $20.13, I would still count that because he's good for that. He's good for the $4. There seems to be a lot of stuff sold out. Oh, actually, thanks for that. Here's what happened. My store, on the inside of the store, on my side of the store where I look at the shelves or whatever, it says, oh, you got two locations. Your location and your location. And I'm like, what? No, I have one location. So I clicked a button and now it has one location. And then it decided, oh, well, then everything that was at your location is now off the inventory list. So I have to go back and actually do that. So thanks for the heads up. Most of the stuff is correct, but there is going to be some editing that'll make things appear that, you know, are back in stock. But I don't want to say that everything's coming back in stock because that's not the case, but it definitely pulled stuff out of stock. The problem is, well, I create a problem, I guess. Let's go to something like 2A patch designs. A couple of different ways you could run a store, right? I could say, oh, crap, these are definitely not sold out. And there's like a couple of these left. Oh, and there's a lot of these. Oh, my. No wonder nobody's buying anything. Everything's sold out. Yeah, so I need to go in here and work on the store, I guess. But anyhow, let's say something that is sold out. So I'm going to go backwards a couple of pages. Nope, all these things are not sold out. So anyway, let's say something is sold out, like this skull, which isn't even sold out. But instead of taking it off of the store, what I'll do is type sold out in front of it. So let me find something that actually says sold out. This is even going to work as an example. I guess I can't find any of them, but I wrote almost gone. Here, I guess these. I wrote sold out in front of it as a title because it's going to list them alphabetically. That usually shoves it to the end of the list alphabetically. But I also leave it there so that when somebody has something that they've purchased at the store, they can, They can go back and see, you know, what the deal was with it, what options were there for it, right? Like what were we selling it for? Most of our stuff isn't like, oh, here's more garbage that needs to exist, right? Most of the time it's like, oh, crap, they want how much in taxes? How are we going to do this? And, you know, I'd rather be working on 2A projects. So we whip out some patches and sell them. And so like right now, the stuff that's being sold is going to say Battle of 2A or Battle of Taxes and Bills, right? And you click on something like this, it'll say that. These are limited. I'm not going to make them forever. So whenever we quit making them 2 years from now, whatever, people will be able to come back and go, oh, yeah, that's what that one's for. So since I do that, since I leave the old stuff in the store, because it doesn't cost nothing to leave it in the store, it just makes it confusing. What'll happen is it makes it confusing, I guess. So I'm not really apologizing. I'm just explaining the reason we do it that way. And I don't know. I appreciate it when I go to some place and I'm trying to look for an old product when they have it in their catalog, but at least listed as like, you know, no longer being made. But I appreciate that heads up, Kingpin. I will, after this, flip over to the store and make sure, you know, try to figure out what all inventory is up there. And at this point, let me look on my phone. It'll actually maybe tell me. Believe it or not, I took a nap between last show and this show. So now I am, I think, done napping for the day, I guess. I think when you get old, you can't help it. So I get to start blaming it on that, right? Oh, crap, I totally forgot. I'm old now. I can nap like 3 or 4 times and nobody can say nothing. Anyway, I'm going to take a look at the inventory when this is all over. And if anybody wants to grab stuff from the store, as soon as we get nine people on board, we will go live and do a loot swap. Live loot swap. Nobody can stop us. There's no laws against it yet. Let's see. If the card, box, or slingshot, or whatever is under it, would be cool. No, I'm not. That's going to be random. They should not feel bad for not being a Patreon. No, but you can feel better for being a Patreon. So I can score a new ETM patch? Yeah, there's... Oh, you're saying over here? No, I don't know about those. I only made 2 of each of these colors, or 4, I guess, of that color. I just don't know what's in stock there. That one's probably an accurate sold out, sorry. And I did them in teal, and I don't really like it comes out looking weird on the end because it's such a satiny color. So I don't know if I'm going to keep selling those. Just pick a random one for you. I'll try to remember that, but I appreciate it. Are you doing another patch batch? Probably not, but maybe. I've thought about it, but I'm not sure. It's a good question. If you got a theme in mind, that'd be interesting. Let me know. What about past patches page? Oh, that's sort of what it is. I don't know if I've created... I probably could filter a list that's just all the ones that say sold out and then let people use that. But what we have instead is... where do we have it? We have the gear website's past patch archive. So if you go to this page and click there, then you can see starting in 2012, the first patch we ever made 200 of these Arizona state flags in 4 colors instead of lazy ass 3 colors. Then we made our own logo and we sent those out in 2012 before it was even a thing. Because we cut this ground. No one had a patch ever until we did. We sent them out to we had 100 of them made and we sent them out to people that we knew on YouTube. Unfortunately, most of those were lost in shipping. So they're all laying on the floor of the post office, being stepped on to this day, jammed behind equipment and like probably stolen by the mice and rats that live in the post offices. So I don't know how many people actually have these. We didn't keep very many, and I sent most of them out naively to people that I knew or were hanging out, because YouTube was a different place in 2012. Most of y'all don't know. So anyway, that was our second patch ever made, and we were buying them through middlemen. So then in 2013, we went and made a spam can, because I was like, you know, it would be awesome is a spam can. So we made the first one, and it was embroidered, and it only did 100 of them, and that was a second, or this was the third one with this first middleman. And then I was like, I think I'm done with this middleman. I'm going to try some other patch places. And then the 1.4C, the idea was to have something that was subtle that you could put on your pack or your bag, and it was a nod to other gun people. But everybody else who doesn't know what this is going to think it's something stupid like tennis or some kind of marathon or a bike riding thing or something stupid. So everybody who knows, and everybody else just assumes, right? And then they can assume to their own peril. So this is the best patch ever made for gun people. And we only made 100 of them, and we did those in sewn, right? We made those. And then somewhere around here, we got our own sewing machine too, remember? So at some point, I wasn't going to keep making these when I could sew these cheaper. So then we made the real spam can set, and this was with another middleman. And then this might have been a Kickstarter. Yeah, this was a Kickstarter. So we did this as a Kickstarter, made it possible. This is a shit ton of money right here to make these, so we had to have help. Then we started Glocktober. Most of y'all are since the Glocktober era, but back in 2014, the gun channels community was relatively new, and we rallied behind the Glock. The grip angle was enough. None of us were had to hide behind the grip angle or hide behind, some other excuse. And we understood the legitimacy of the Glock. So when I went over to Glock, the company, and I said, hey, we're going to do Glocktober. Is that cool with you, or are you going to sue me? They're like, oh, no, that's awesome. That's a great idea. You can do Glocktober, and here's 100 things, like swag packs, basically. So they gave us 100 of everything. and then less of some things. So like if it was a patch or if it was a sticker or something, we got 100 of them. And if it was like a backpack or something, maybe we got 5 of them. So Glock gave me authorization to do Glocktober, and then sent me like a truckload of this Glock stuff. So what we did in Glocktober 1 was get how many different, I guess I don't have it on the internet anymore. We got a whole bunch of different content creators together and said, give away Glock stuff. You give away 5 things, you give away 5 things, you give away 10 things, you give away 2 things. And we had this big sort of event where everybody did Glocktober stuff and they did whatever they wanted and they gave away these Glocktober swag packs. And I got together with some other industry people, not people that were sponsoring us, but people that were just decent, cool companies like the Wilderness out of Phoenix and a bunch of different companies that decided to jump in. I think Laserlight jumped in on that too. And they all just started sending swag for products for these 100 things. And we built a website and we made it a big thing. And we had people who knew what they were doing help the people that didn't as far as content creators. This was years before Clover came around and started doing that stuff on Thursday, right? This was in 2014. So anyway, the Glocktober was a pretty awesome thing. And we decided to make a patch. And I was already a patch expert, for crying out loud. I'd made 6 patches by now. So I was like, oh, I'm a patch expert. Let's make a patch. And then you get the Glocktober patch, the one and only patch made by committee. So it looks creepy and weird, and it's horrible, and it's awful, and that's the first Glocktober patch. Nobody likes it. Everybody hates it, and it's going to have to go eat worms. So that was interesting. Then you had Haas, this dude from the Marines who hung around with me back in the day, needed patches, so we did a Kickstarter and made some patches for him. And then he just gave them all away to people. He's one of them kind of people. He gets them and then just gives them away. You know who else is like that? Pink. He does the same thing. Marco does the same thing. Then we get the first Every Second Matters patch made, mainly because Every Second Matters was made. So there was 100 of them. Then we had the internet press. So I was like, oh, you know what I need to do? Make more patches. So I made up a internet press pass. So instead of being like a regular press pass where you have to pay $200 to some stupid pseudo paramilitary organization to get their press credentials, we were already in gun channels and we didn't need no press credentials. So we just made our own media pass, and I called it an internet press pass and put news media on there, except I crossed out the new or the S part of news. So it just said new media subtly. And then you could wear that, and some dumbass would go, oh, they got a press pass on. I think Yankee wears his on his hat once in a while still. So those were made in 2014, and nobody liked them, so I never made them again. Then that was the first Gun Channels patch, sold out almost immediately. Then I made the 1.4C in PVC, and that was the first PVC patch we ever made. And what year was that? 2014? Holy crap. So I'm looking at one, and they didn't ever bleed black. So even though I don't use that company, I never use that company again, they did make a decent orange patch. So then you get to 2015, and we're sitting there minding our business, having a live chat like this, except there was actually people in it. And then it's like 5 p.m. and people start going, what's this? What's going on with the ATF? And this is Friday before SHOT Show. And you think about it, the Friday before SHOT Show, people are traveling to SHOT Show. Either the manufacturers, the industry, is literally traveling there and setting up. You get your people who are attending, who are either getting ready to go or already there, because many of us were getting ready to start doing things on Monday, right? So we're traveling on Friday night. The other people that just attend, like all the gun shop people, they're getting ready to, make their peace and say goodbye for a week and shut their stores down. Like they're getting ready. Like the industry is getting ready to transition to kind of set up shop temporarily like a gun show in Vegas, right? In the midst of all that, ATF puts out quietly, without any kind of pomp or circumstance, this little document that says, oh, you can't brace a pistol, you can't shoulder a pistol brace anymore. That would be manufacturing a short barrel rifle. So you'd go to jail, a 10-year federal offense. So we were like, what? So in this live chat one Friday afternoon, we got so offended that we created the hashtag brace this. Yeah. That's the kind of activism that we were able to generate in an afternoon back in 2015. You kids these days, you don't even know. So boom, right away, within hours, we had a hashtag, and we were using that hashtag fervently on the Instagram. And then we went ahead and made patches the next day. So this is a graphic and an image that was made by committee. I guess technically this is the second and only second patch made by committee, but it's better, so it's okay. And then I ordered them from one of my middlemen, because I was still a sucker back then. And then, so the stupid ATF came out with their stupid infringement on Friday. We immediately came out with a hashtag because we're adaptable like that. And then within 24 hours, we had already ordered these patches. But it takes forever, so I don't know when they actually showed up. And, you know, they got sold out. I think there's like 2 left or something. There might be 1 left or something in the store right now. But that was pretty awesome now that I'm thinking about it. That was back when activism meant something. Then we had the Every Second Matters fiasco. There was a miscommunication, and we made Every Second Matters blankets. So these were the largest patches ever made by humans, and that happened. Then we ran our logos in PVC, and we'll never talk about that again. It was a horrible mistake. But see, you learn, right? You have to learn from doing mistakes and stuff. Then we made some more Every Second Matters patches, and we made some more Every Second Matters patches because back then people cared about Every Second Matters. Then we made some more patches for Haas. He gave them away. We made some more Gun Channels patches because Gun Channels was a community that lasted for 7 years. A bunch of people got together and empowered each other to focus on Second Amendment and move the gun conversations along instead of stagnating or following or just regurgitating what you're told to pay attention to every day by the people who profit from you tuning in every day to listen to whatever continuing saga they're being told to talk about. Then we did the second Glocktober patch, which was not made by committee, and it turned out to be more like the chick holding the beer steins, except we gave her Glocks with extendos. This might hurt your feelings if you don't like Glocks so bad, but I think it's a pretty decent patch. We also put the date in there to piss off Marco. Then we did a set of spam cans in PVC, which are now sold out. That was at the time we were doing the AK deck. Oh, so this would have been when I bought the sewing machine. So this is when I bought the sewing machine. I guess the PVC 1.4Cs were what decided to get the sewing machine. Then some more Gun Channels patches because of the community. Then I went on tour for the first time, and we raised some funds. And to make the tour cool, made a bunch of donuts. So we had the Gun Show Loophole Tour donut selection. We were checking out donut shops during that tour, if I remember correctly. On this tour, this dude and me went to California and then drove around and seen every Ring of Fire factory pretty much in a 2-day period in a 1986 van that was only ever owned by a school district and was running probably at like a quart of transmission fluid per 20 miles or something. Like we were just pouring transmission fluid onto the highways of California. You're welcome. Let's see. Then the AK-47 playing cards, there's a patch that is the back of the cards. Yeah, that exists. And then an inverse of that. There's even fewer of those. More Gun Channels patches because of the community. Then I did the 7.62. If you know, you know. And if you don't, you think it's some kind of race or archery. Or I don't know what people think. They probably think it's some kind of meters. You know they think that's meters if they don't know what it is. Along those same lines, I made an S&W 40. This one caught a lot of it. Like this pissed a lot of people off. You can't imagine how many people this pisses off. Like 9mm people get really mad when you even try to make another caliber aware, make people aware of another caliber. Glocktober continued to exist in 2016, and we made another design. These were PVC. There was 3 different colors of those, and you had to qualify. You have to be of certain level to get the good ones, or the different color options, I should say. More Gun Channels patches. I should mention that these Gun Channels patches are almost all made by 2 dudes. One of them was named Pink, and one of them was named Marco. Those guys most of the time would just buy the patches, and then I would buy some also because they already started buying them, and that made them cheaper, and then I could buy some. But they made it possible, and that's why all these gun channels patches exist, is because of those dudes. Also, same thing with Every Second Matters for the most part. Sometimes we would do crowdfunding, but for the most part, if Marco and Pink wouldn't have been around, none of these patches would hardly exist. And at the same time, Pink was running a live chat, creating the concept of a lobby and an after chat, but that's a whole other conversation. Then we get more gun channels patches. Then we get a mini revolver one. Those are gone. I started sewing those on my own machine, and this was one of the first designs of our own that we took over to a manufacturer and had sewn. Then it was the first stripper clips. There's a whole big story behind them, believe it or not. Then there's the revolver and the skull, which come from the Old West Guns playing cards project. Both of those are sold out now. Then we got the small white van for a tour. That was a mistake because it was supposed to be a way bigger patch, and they made it like a little tiny Ranger High. So that was a mistake, and not very many of those exist. 100 of them. See, we put in here when and where and a little bit of the information about it. Every once in a while I go back and talk about them like this. So unlike other patch companies that are like, buy our patch again, buy our patch again, buy our patch again, buy our patch again. That's about as much input as you get from them. Our patches represent stuff that we did, or were opportunities, or were reactions to being offended or infringed on, right? So yeah, all of ours, we want to let people know what's the deal is. So made this page to help explain it. Now there's also a buyer's guide that most everybody has. If you've purchased stuff from us, we try to send you one. I don't send it every time because it costs me money to make them, but we send out a buyer's guide that has most of this information smashed into a tiny little piece of paper booklet, right? So that first patch was too little, so I made a second one and I put Oro in it. And that's one of my favorite patches. I think they're sold out. Then we did the Arizona ones. Remember, the first ones we ever did were Arizonas. And we did it because of 4 colors. And then somewhere, no, this was the first time we ever did them. Then we finally did the Arizona state shapes. Did we come up with that? Yeah. Did other people steal it from us? Of course. Do we care? Yeah. So we're going to sue them all. But eventually, until we get that money, you can still buy one of them. Let's see, then we did our first patch batch. Dude was asking about patch batches earlier. So the first one was in 2018. And you got your Wolverine, you got your bacon pancakes, you got your big van, you got your Tears Against the Wall, you got your spam can, you got your this and that and the other thing and all this other stuff. So boom, a bunch of this stuff came out of the patch batch. Most of the stuff is gone. Some of it's still available. Some of it was never sold, right? And then it becomes 2019. We do the Kalash patch batch, which is actually what I was thinking of doing, is another Kalashnikov one. And that's where the giant AK comes from. Is this the largest AK patch that's ever made? No. Some people in Russia made one bigger, only to try to prove me make this one not be the biggest one. But this is the biggest one that's under 24 inches. This is bigger than any other patch you're going to get from any other provider in this country. And you can't even get the Russian one, so it doesn't even matter. Then we did our second Wolverine in PVC. There's 3 Wolverines in PVC. Another spam can. There's other people horking off of the spam can idea, but none of them are as authentic, and none of them have been. Most of our spam cams, I have the lid. I put the lid, took a picture of it, and then went live and did the art, and then made the patch, and then did the stuff all live. Everybody else is just like, buy our patch, buy our new patch, buy our new patch again. Right? We're not robots. Another Every Second Matters, this time in orange, and then a second patch batch. So we did the first patch batch for ourselves because we're greedy. We don't care about other people. So we did that patch batch and it actually failed and we lost money on it. So we're like, you know what happens when you lose money? Let's double down on that. Except this time we did it for other people. So people like CloverTac, Yankee, Never Enough Ammo, Tony Simon, GunTube, Gunstreamer, Ghost, Florida Carry, Yuta, Gear Report, Tony, and then an Every Second Matters patch, right? everybody works together. You've seen how awesome this tight-knit group is now. Since 2019, they're inseparable. They can't stop working together, and holy moly, it's like get a room, right? So that worked out real well. And the fun part is the whole war on taxes and all that shit is because of this. Yay! So that's where I'm paying for. And then you get the Every Second Matters in yellow. Those don't exist. I don't think, can you buy them? I don't think you can buy them. I think we only gave them away. And then I got to go update this because then we did a whole nother patch batch where I was like, instead of doing taxes, let's just do it again first. And then I lost even more money doing it this time. But the best part is that none of these people work together either. So, you know, whatever. I got to finish this. But that was all due to DJ. So I just DJ'd you with this whole extra history of our patches. But I figured if anybody's watching this, you still dug it. But I do need to bring this current to 2021, but there is that. And then, of course, there's the buyer's guide that, like I say, if you need one, let me know when you order, and I'll stick one in there. It'll probably never get updated, honestly, because that was so much work to make that little buyer's guide that it's like laid out and everything. I'm never going to update that unless I get a crew of people that I can say, hey, on Thursday, go update the buyer's guide, because I'm never going to do it. But I will update the page over there so that people that own stuff can know what they own and whatever. I don't do much of the shirts or the hats, Knack, because of the stuff on the hats and the shirts. I just do it those purchase on demand or create on demand, right? So I just give them the designs. The thing is, if we go over to like Teespring, I don't think it's called Teespring anymore. But when I used to go to Teespring, see, I'm not a robot, it knows that. Okay, great. Like, no one's ever bought anything from our place over here. How do you get to the analytics, I guess? Like, I've never made a sale on a shirt, so I don't know how these things work or whatever. But we do have stuff over here. There's all, well, I guess there's a couple of things over here. And if you go to the other place where the other shirts are, it's very similar. We have made money over there, though. So basically, yeah, we get $5 per shirt. I just put them on the print-on-demand places because otherwise you got to buy a whole bunch of medium shirts, a whole bunch of large shirts, and then people only buy the large, and you got all these mediums laying around. Can you imagine if they made left-handed shirts? Ugh, one other level of horror. But anyway, so I make them on print-on-demand, right? So if you buy them, then they just give us $5 and send you the shirt. I think people are satisfied with them. But I get as many people saying they're not satisfied as the shirts as people saying they're satisfied. And that is only a small percentage of the people that ever actually buy them, which means I've only gotten like 2 things of feedback one way or the other and like sold 6 shirts. So it's not like it's a big thing. Other people probably, well, I know other people are more like shirt centric. So they probably have it all down. So I don't think anybody on our realm has ever really paid that much attention to shirts. So I never really paid too much attention to shirts either. With that, I will drop the link one more time to the Gear website store. And we were talking about patches there, and all those patches can be acquired over there along with other cool stuff. Let's not forget that you can also go to the products, services, and click on professional services, I guess. No. Oh, yeah, sorry. When you click on services, it opens up this, and once you see down over here, you can grab yourself a cartoon. So if you want to grab a cartoon of a gun or a van or other vehicle, or maybe a logo or something, let me know, or buy it, and then let me know what you want a cartoon of, and then we go live, draw a cartoon. Here's one. Oh, see, I got to switch this out. This is, dude wanted a picture of this van, so we took the van, made the line drawings, put some colors in it, and then presto, you got a drawing. Dude from Gear Report posted this video one time, made the lines out of it, filled it in, boom, got a cartoon of that van. He never uses it. Went to a Big Sandy machine gun shoot, seen this awesome Wicked van sitting there, drew lines out of it, Bam, add color. Now you got a cartoon of that van. Dude I know who makes holsters had this van. And I was like, boom, boom. Now he's got a cartoon of that van. So there's the squad car, our cop car, my old El Camino. And if you want to grab a drawing of a cool vehicle for your projects or something, $50. And then we'll make a video of it. And then you got the video. You can do all kinds of stuff with that video. Impress the chicks, show it to the folks, take it down to the skateboard park, put on a sticker for the skateboards, whatever you're going to do with it. As long as we can help battle the taxes and bills, we'll be able to move on to other things. Imagine if I wasn't fighting bills and taxes right now, and I could just get on with it. I could be doing the regular 2A history, like I'm supposed to be doing, right? Keeping track of all the past stuff so that we don't forget it and we know on whose shoulders we stand. But also, we could have knocked out Clover's $700 laptop bill. Why should Clover be buying a laptop for crying out loud, right? For $700, nonetheless. And then I know some other people that are battling their own battles right now with stupid bills. So it sucks, but one of these days we'll get through it with your help. We appreciate it, and then I'll be able to quit talking about it. That'd be awesome. All right, so Nighthawk's out there in my car. The Presses woman is just lost when I get out of it. Well, then don't get out of it. Just rev your engine and stuff. And now you can just go through drive-thrus all the time. Need to fill in my E2Ms and some rares. I was tardy to the patch party. Here's the thing. You can buy them off of people. Plenty of people who were in gun channels hate gun channels now, right? So you can go to them and get all their gun channels patches cheap, I bet. They probably hate them. Trade them. Let's see. Check out this show. As far as I know, it's the first time Every Second Matters was brainstormed. Oh, is that one of the... Well, let's see. Is that... It would have to be... Marines. One Bad Marines show. I had a dream with Ghost and Clover in it. I was trying to give Clover a new computer, but I drove to Ghost's house by mistake, and then we drove around looking for Clover. That happens because Clover's always messing around, right? Looking for his little pot of gold or hiding it or removing it or whatever. I don't know if he puts it under bridges when there's no rainbow, but whatever. Yeah, I can imagine that happening. It's weird that you dream about Clover and Ghost, but whatever. We're not judging you. I mean, I'm not judging you. If other people want to judge you for dreaming about Clover and Ghost, that's up to them. But I'm not going to judge you personally right here in front of everybody. Oh, interesting. See, so you're already getting the trading thing down there. So not only does he have a shirt with the van dog on it, but he was in the van and with the dog. It was the last tour with Aura. No, it wasn't the last tour, but it was the last good tour with Aura. I almost killed him on that tour. All right, well, so with that, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for joining for the live, even though it was at a weird time. After this, later today, if I click on subscriptions, boom, G23 will be doing a show, which is live. It's going to be in 2 hours. What do I not have barbecue on here? Barbecue sometimes has a show. Is he not doing a show? Did he finally give up the meat? Looks like barbecue went vegan. So maybe he'll have a vegan show today. He's not doing a show today, I guess. Yeah, otherwise there's other stuff that's happening. Regular Gun Guy does shows all the time. Combat Story. Oh, snap. There's a new one? Are you kidding me? 3 hours ago. Snap. So Combat Story is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. A lot of the combat ones, interviews with combat folks or military dudes and whatnot, chicks, can be long because these awesome podcasts are long format and they really get into it. So this one isn't. This one is usually around 90 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes. And this is another Green Beret. So the guy who does the interviews on Combat Story was a Apache pilot, and then he was in the CIA. So he's got some interesting insight, and he asks decent questions, like thorough questions, good questions. So it makes that 90 minutes effective. So that's interesting if you want to listen to something awesome. I don't know if this is going to be the best one of combat stories, but I did 2 weeks ago, I think we did an hour and a half worth of digging into literally every single episode of combat stories. So can't recommend that highly enough. Otherwise, if anybody sees anything to recommend, go for it. The guy who used to be known as Budget isn't doing a show or he didn't do a show this week. He'll do one on Sunday. And dang, there was something else that I was going to mention that was off YouTube. That'll get me. I should have not written it down. Next time I'll try to remember to write it down. So it's right at the 1 hour and 30 minute mark. That's 90 minutes for those of you that don't understand how an hour and a half works. So with that, we'll be back to pick you up later. Oh, you know what I'm going to do first, though? Is this. Honda does a date night. Honda's date night. I don't usually promote Honda stuff because of his old-fashioned rhetoric. No, it's cool. I just don't post stuff to Honda because most people that watch my stuff, I figure, aren't watching Honda. But yeah, Honda is a dude from Colorado who does a conspiracy show, quote unquote, on Sundays, old-fashioned conspiracies on Sundays, and then plays video games and plays around and just kind of plays around, I think, most of the time on his live stuff. Or we missed anything? We did D23 has a show earlier or later on today. Barbecue has a show later on today. This is what happens when you piss off your neighborhood. What's that called? The neighborhood. Whatever. Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day.